Oh, welcome to our beautiful session all around sleep on this beautiful morning in January. And I hope you have leaned into this year in a really beautiful way that is allowing you to nourish and to support yourself. And our whole premise for this month is around a fresh year of freedom. So it's around finding that freedom around your health, your wealth, your lifestyle. And for me, we're following our 5 pillars of metabolic health. And so food and nutrition, movement, sleep, environment, and mindset. So our sleep is coming into the end of this week, week 2, and then into week 3. And we've got some beautiful things that we're coming up with. So Katja and I have joined together. Katja's over in Germany, and she did a beautiful session yesterday with yoga and breath work. And I know she's repeating a new session like that for next week, which I think will also give us that real opportunity to just get into that restful place and look at sleep. So I'm going to kick off by just sharing some of the facts around sleep and why it's important to us. And then welcome. And then Katja and I are going to just discuss some of the ways that we've been incorporating ideas to support ourselves and our clients in getting them into better sleep routines. And then if you've got questions, you can pop them in the chat, or you could private message either one of us to actually help and support you in that way. So just coming sort of from a really broad perspective on sleep, sleep is actually an anabolic state. So it's building and repairing that muscle tissue. So it's great for restorative, repairing. It's great for immune function. It's great for the nervous system. And it's also great for building your skeletal and muscle systems, which we do throughout our lives. So even when we're aging, we think our skeleton is already formed, we're still adding calcium into our bones. So it's really important that we still get that sleep that supports all those functions. And when you think about it, it's defined as reduced activity. So we think of it as, often lying down with our eyes closed, and that's necessary for humans, not necessarily in the animal kingdom. And it would be the inhibition of voluntary muscle movement that would put us into that REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep. And it's easily reversed. So you think of sleep as, that the child that comes in and taps you on the shoulder and mummy, you're immediately awake, which would be different to maybe in a hibernation or if you were in a coma. And it tends to be controlled by a number of different things, one of which is homeostasis through our endocrine system. So this is about creating that balance with our circadian rhythms. So when we think about circadian rhythms, we look at that as a clock that goes highs and lows throughout the day, and we will just sort of filter around through the day. And our circadian rhythms will all have a 24-hour clock, but we will all go in and out of a high and a low at slightly different time. And that's dependent on how much light we get, how much sleep we've had the day before, whereabouts we live in the world. And sleep tends to be, we come into that state of sleep when our adenosine starts to lower. So that's the chemical that induces sleep. And you find it in some of the really good foods that we're eating in our fresh year of freedom. So you'll find it in healthy whole foods, in grass-fed meats and poultry. You'd find it in organ meats like liver and kidneys, in fruits and vegetables. And things like caffeine and alcohol tend to inhibit that. So caffeine in particular blocks the receptors for that adenosine. So it actually blocks your body's ability to understand that that is rising, and therefore it's nighttime. And sleep occurs when that adenosine is at its highest and your circadian rhythm is in its lowest wake drive. So that's when we start to think about going into sleep. So if you've got your bedtime routine, you might find that you already start to feel sleepy at whatever time that normally is. And you would be starting to look at that circadian rhythm. And then through our evening, we would have 5 sets of 90-minute cycles within that circadian rhythm. And I often get asked this by clients because often clients will go through maybe 2 cycles. So they've had 2 lots of 90 minutes, and then they'll be awake. Maybe they need the loo, maybe they're overthinking, maybe their adrenal glands are slightly out of whack. And they will then worry for the rest of the night that actually they're not sleeping well, and are they not getting their quality rest and repair sleep? But actually, those first 2 cycles of the evening are the most important too. So that's when our brain is looking for that really deep, rapid eye movement sleep, that REM sleep, and we're getting the most rest and repair. So even if then you were slightly disturbed in those following 3 90-minute cycles, it's not quite the end of the world. And what you will generally find is within that 90-minute cycle, you will wake up at the point of that cycle is coming to an end to go to the loo. You'd very rarely wake up in the middle of a cycle and then find you can't get back to sleep. So when you know that, sometimes it's quite nice then to go back to bed going, oh, actually, that's a great time to get up because I'm ready for my next cycle. As women, and I know a lot of women do in our Fresh Year of Freedom, and if you've got women that are going through menopause or perimenopause, you might not like to share this video with them. But menopause can be an inhibitor of sleep because estrogen is one of the other things that supports or doesn't support our sleep. And it's about metabolism of serotonin and other neurotransmitters that are affecting your sleep. And because estrogen helps to regulate our body temperature, ideally we want our body temperature to be dropping as we're falling to sleep. So if that isn't happening and you are having night sweats or you are having hot flushes, your body temperature staying higher, it is harder to get into sleep. And on the converse, testosterone keeps changes your body temperature too. So that can also affect. So the difference in your estrogen and your testosterone can really affect how you sleep. And there's all sorts of other foods that we can eat that will support us in keeping our amino acids, our serotonin and our melatonin high, because these are also things that influence our mood. And we generally know that if we're in a good mood, we tend to feel more awake. So if you were going to give you some tips in a minute, Katja and I, but if you can get into that sort of good mood state early in the day, you're more likely to feel awake. And if you're not sleeping well, then it can be some adverse things for your health. So obviously it can affect your memory, it can affect your cognitive function, but it can also increase your risk of both high blood pressure by up to 12% and metabolic syndrome, so your cardiovascular health by up to 15%. So really important that we look at sleep and we try to get ourselves into a really good sleep pattern. So I just thought it would be really interesting for Katja and I to talk about what we feel a good sleep routine should entail and how to build that into your life, particularly as we're focusing on this fresh year of freedom. And this might be something you really want to take into your life going forwards. So Katja, do you have things that you naturally fit into a sleep routine?
Hi, Ellie.
Hi.
For having me. Yes, I think you were talking about the circadian rhythm. So our sleep is kind of very conservative. It likes a routine. So I think the most important thing is that we don't like go through two different patterns in our week. And then the weekend is completely off. Our sleep likes it if we have the same habits, so we can keep those circles in a smooth flow. So really kind of deciding for yourself when is your regular sleep time and when is your regular waking time, and keeping that in a flow is, I think, one of the most important things. Then another thing you talked about melatonin and serotonin. So really these two two are interlinked. So I always say serotonin wakes you up, and mel puts you to bed. You need the
Yeah.
melatonin to fall into sleep, to lower your temperature. So in order to kick that cycle off, daylight exposure is really important.
Yeah.
So now we're in winter and might be dark when you're getting up, but as soon as the sun's out, do expose yourself to some natural daylight. If there's really no um, way to do it, there's also these daylight lamps, but I really think, yeah, as humans, we should be out exposed to daylight and to nature at one point. So it's also really a way of living. I think that's really important.
And also
And
just doing that grounding first thing in the morning is so
mhm,
beautiful. And of
yeah.
course, we get those UV rays first thing in the morning, which aren't harmful to us, but actually that really give us that absolute support. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So don't put
Not
any
today in
sunscreen
England,
on
I'm
at that
afraid.
moment. Right. Yeah, but we still, we still get the energy for building the
Yeah.
serotonin and the melatonin. And then I think also the way we we go to sleep, like really creating an atmosphere where we come down, where we wind down. So you don't want the last thing to be like a blue screen, worrisome news. I mean, how would you put a little baby soothingly to sleep?
Yeah.
You would maybe bathe it, you would read, you would sing music or play nice music, you would give it a massage, and kind of the same way you would do it to somebody that you would take care of. I think we need to grant ourselves that landing phase as
Yeah.
well, rather than going like this and then laying down and like, why can't I sleep? Like
Yeah.
if you have troubles falling
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah. And also about a bath or a shower, having a bath or shower late at night, which raises your body temperature, but then when you come out, immediately starts to lower your body temperature, starts to release that melatonin. So actually you can then drop off to sleep. As long as you haven't had your bath, so you're red hot and it takes your temperature a long time to come down, then actually it's a really good way of inducing sleep.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I mean, then there are, of course, some general sleep hygiene rules. I mean, maybe we just mentioned them. I mean, you want your bedroom to have a cool temperature,
Yeah.
right? So, what is it, 16 to 18
Yeah.
degrees or something? You don't want it too warm. Don't put your office desk next to your bed that you're looking at, things
Yeah.
that might, still keep you going. Just create a nice atmosphere. Yeah, and don't eat too heavy too late. Don't train high intensively too late. Don't drink alcohol. So
Yeah.
if you want to drink alcohol, do it on the weekend during the day. Go for day drinking. So then by the time when you go to bed, that alcohol is not in your system. Same holds true for caffeine, like thumb rule, no caffeine after noon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are important things. And then certainly what can help you to fall asleep is breathing or tapping, like the 4-7-8 breath is a really good breath where you inhale for 4, you hold the breath for 7, and then you exhale long for 8, is a really, really good
Yeah.
breath routine. Yeah, and then of course, I mean, we are both here in the Healy Hub, in the
Yeah.
Healy space. Certainly, I've had big shifts with the quality of my sleep.
Yeah.
I will, since I've been using the Healy, and I haven't even used any specific sleep programs, which there are amazing sleep
Yeah.
programs, but I just used the general analysis that you can run in one of the apps. And the quality of my sleep has improved so much, which means that I'm waking up an hour earlier and I feel so rested and so rejuvenated. I think that's also beautiful. And then, of course, in the Healy, there's sleep programs. There's a special sleep section. I don't know if you're going to talk about it later, but they're
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it now while we're here. Yeah, there's in the actual Healy, the wearable, then there's a whole number of sleep programs that you can use. So sleep system supports you in going into those deep delta states. So
sorry,
those
Ellie, do
states
you
where
want me
we're,
to share my screen and show the programs as
yeah, that
we're
would be
talking? I'd
great. Yeah, if you
like
could.
to do
Thank
that
you.
as we're talking.
Yeah. So that sleep system systems puts you into those deep delta states. So really beautiful for actually supporting that repair and rejuvenation. There's also an amazing program called Bed Rest, which is about relaxation. And it's also about supporting your heart variability and the vagus nerve. So both Katja and I work a lot with the vagus nerve, me through my gut health work and Katja through her yoga work, because the vagus nerve is that nerve that literally goes from the base of your cranium all the way through. And it's connecting your gut and your brain, which we think of the gut as the second brain. And that vagus nerve has, if you imagine like a highway and the information going from like down the highway and up the highway, the information going from the brain to the vagus nerve is maybe 2 lanes, but the information going from the vagus nerve back to the brain is like seven lanes. So we used to think the brain managed the gut, and the gut manages our immune system and our hormones, and our hormones manage our menopause, and our menopause manages our estrogen. So you can see how it's all a big cycle. And when we support our vagus nerve, we're actually sending those messages back to our brain that are keeping us healthy. So Bed Rest is a beautiful program. Also on here, we've got Balanced Sleep. Is it on that program? Yeah, at the bottom, Balanced Sleep, which is about guiding you into that more balanced sleep and actually helping you to fall asleep. And then Fine Flow is a beautiful program that promotes and regulates neuronal communications. So it's about hormone release and supporting healthy sleep states. So absolutely beautiful. If you've got your professional, have you got a professional with on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Then in digital nutrition, there's a whole series of programs. Being a nutritionist, I love the digital nutrition programs. But there's a hormonal harmony program. So, if you are having night sweats or hot flushes and that's stopping you sleeping, the hormonal harmony is a beautiful program. Exhaustion, I think, is a really lovely program. There's also Mature Women, again, for hormones. And there's a menopause program. And also Recreation and Rest are really lovely programs because they're about actually how we show up and then how we rest. And it just puts us again into that rest and relaxation state. So really, really lovely. And then it might be worth just showing why we're here, Katja, on the Blue app, how you would actually vibrate those frequencies to yourself. So you can wear the Healy as I'm wearing it today. So I've got a Healy pinned on my top, and then I've got the wrist straps on here. And I'm using a thing called microcurrent, which supports my ATP, my adenodrine triphosphate, which is the amino acid that supports all our energy cells. And what this does is it can boost our ATP by 500%. So it really gives you a lift in energy. But at night, you probably don't want to have the wires attached under your pajama top. So you can either have the Healy on its own, take the wires out and put a little thing in called a coil, or you can actually run the same programs or a whole series of programs through the Blue app. So within the Blue app, you would choose to do a new resonance scan on yourself. And you might feel into how you're feeling, what you really want to get out of your sleep. Choose the sleep programs from the list. And Katja's choosing herself.
If I may, I didn't sleep well because my husband is sick and he snored last night.
Oh
So
no.
let's see what comes up for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then what the sleep programs would do was analyze Katja in the real time and show what she needs. So she needs some balanced sleep, which is exactly what she just said. Bed rest would be lovely for her to run now because it's not going to put you into that state of sleep, but it's actually supporting that vagus nerve. Fine flow, sleep systemic, all coming up. And then she would vibrate those to herself. And she could either do that just for a minute or a few seconds because we're chatting. But if she was going to maybe go straight into running bed rest, so that she puts her straps on and runs bed rest for herself as a program, she might run this for 2 or 3 minutes as the whole of the frequencies to support all of those frequencies into her body. And then she might go straight into the bed rest program and run that directly, either with the straps, or she could run it for a longer period of time. If she was going to bed, she could say, "Oh, I want to run all of these for 4 hours while I'm sleeping," and set the timer so it runs for 4 hours. And because it's on her phone, and we've already talked about not having blue light in our bedroom, she can leave her phone and the Healy downstairs. She doesn't have to have the Wi-Fi moving around her body in the bedroom, because this uses a thing called a scalar wave, which is in quantum science where it gets so incredible. A scalar wave moves faster than the speed of light and isn't bound by matter. So it's not actually bound by the sort of the dimensions of matter. So the minute it leaves the Healy, it literally will be in Katja's body working its magic wherever she is in her bedroom. So it's a beautiful way of really supporting you to get into just a better sleep routine and then better sleep.
Yes. And I really want to talk from my own experience. I mean, I told you a little bit that the quality of my sleep has enhanced, but
Yeah.
certainly I have several women on my Healy team that have come in for different reasons or have used the Healy for different reasons, but they've all reported back to me that they are using bed rest. Bed rest really, and I've heard Dr. Steve talk about it, that how good it works, profoundly works on the vagus nerve. And so literally I have one woman, I mean, even before we were meeting through the Healy, we were friends, and she's been suffering from really bad sleep for over 2.5 decades. And
Wow.
she's been using bed rest every day for a couple of months, and she says her sleep hasn't been this amazing in all of these years, and she's just awed. And then I have another lady, she's going through perimenopause and menopause, and she wasn't running any sleep programs initially, but then it kept coming up in the Blue app, so she started using bed rest as well. And she says her hot flashes and her sleep have been amazing. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is, I mean, the sleep is one of the core pillars of our health and our well-being,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful way to support.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And when you think about what that vagus nerve is doing, it's relaxing our nervous system, the bed rest program. So it's supporting our parasympathetic nervous system. So we think of our sympathetic nervous system as being our fight or flight. And often in this day and age, we're in fight and flight a lot of the time. So we're in that stress response to all sorts of things when we're driving, when we're in the office, when there's work colleagues around us, when we've got our kids going on. So our body is constantly in that sympathetic nervous system. And what the bed rest program does is it helps us to move into that parasympathetic nervous system in the same way that deep relaxation does, meditation does, walking out in nature does. But it's actually like a tool you can have literally on you at any point. So when you're in the office and you are stressed and you can't get out into nature and you can't sit and meditate for 20 minutes, actually having something that drops you into your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest mode, is so important to us. It's really, really supportive.
And I think the way we sleep often, not always, but often has to do with the way that we live during the day. So our sleep can mirror what is going on in our lives. So we've all had that. If we are under really big stress, we won't sleep well and we won't be surprised. It just becomes a problem if that mirror is showing up continuously, and we've worked out all the other things like the temperature or the hormones or whatever, and we still cannot sleep. And then I think also the Healy is really good because sometimes things are at hand. Okay, I'm going through a breakup or I'm having problems with my mortgage, wherever, then they're at hand and I know where the cause is. But sometimes, and I feel that especially the age 40s and plus, that we are moving up, things from our childhood and our mid-age, kind of like working things out. What am I really here for? Things come up. They're from our childhood. So maybe we are not sleeping well because we still have some healing to do
Yeah,
from the past.
yeah,
And I think for this, Healy is amazing because then you don't analyze the sleep programs. You simply go all Healy programs, and then other things might come
yes,
up that just need your attention, and
yeah,
Healy will just intuitively enhance you in guiding you through this transformation process.
yeah.
Similar way, we have somebody in our wider team. She suffered from migraines all her life.
Mm.
She was just running all Healy programs in the scan and the analysis, and she had used the Healy for something else, but after a month, she realized for the first time in her since her teens,
Yeah.
she was without migraines. So I think
Wow.
the same way we can use the Healy as a beautiful tool for
Yeah.
finding what's underneath the problem of not sleeping well.
Yes, yeah, because there often are other things that are underlying why we're not sleeping. And there are lots of things that will affect it. So, things that will disrupt your sleep, like Katja saying that some of the emotional things, also eating late at night. So, if your digestion's not working really effectively, if actually you're trying to digest your food when you're also trying to get to sleep, that can be a real inhibitor to dropping off to sleep. We've already talked about alcohol. And for me, I'm absolutely no good if I do like a really high impact exercise class at night because it just makes me too wired. And I then just don't drop into that sleep. I'm just too buzzy. Again, if you have long naps late in the afternoon, I mean, it sounds ridiculous that actually, but yeah, it will stop you sleeping later on because you've always disrupted that circadian rhythm. Um, Likewise, high carb diets, high sugar diets, high caffeine diets will all disrupt that ability to get into sleep. Um, Noise, temperature in your bedroom, we've already talked about, but also the quality of your mattress, the quality of the bedding that you're using can have a real effect on it. And it was quite interesting within our Healy team, there was a whole discussion last year around the quality of bed linen and earthing sheets into beds, but also whether you should sleep in cotton or linen. And, I grew up with those sort of stretchy polyester sheets that were like furry, so they felt warm when you got in them. But really, when you think about it, slightly yucky because they didn't absorb any moisture. They were, so if you're going through hot sweats, you want something that is moisture wicking. So linen is a great bedding to have, and you will sleep much better if you've got some quality bed linen than if you've got just, something that's a little bit cheap and gone a little bit old and a bit like bobbly. Um, Also getting out in nature. So you and I both love to be out in nature, and getting your feet in the earth, grounding yourself, particularly first thing in the morning or late at night. Going like yesterday's new moon, going and standing outside for the new moon and just allowing that energy to soak into you and not be inside with like your solar lights on, or a sort of blue light around you, allowing that sort of softer light to start to permeate so that you naturally move into that cycle. Other things that I really like to do are journaling. Are you a big journaler, Katja?
I especially love it for nighttime. A nice way to journal is to really kind of the way you take off your clothes and go to bed is just like journaling off what still needs release.
Yeah,
And if you're troubled by laying awake during the night, you might also put a journal next to your bed if
yeah,
there's just no way you're going back and you feel that your head is circling around a certain topic, then you might just write down and let it go and just have a physical embodiment of release.
yes, yeah,
But I will say I really liked what you said also, that if you've slept a little bit, these two first circles of the circadian rhythm, you already have a lot of rejuvenating sleep. And we know that there's, in German, they call it the hour of the wolves. It's kind of like when your melatonin and your other
Yeah.
hormones, they're like at that crossroad where you don't have enough of anything. And when you
Yeah.
wake up there, the melatonin is not high enough and you can't really go back to sleep.
That's
And
it.
for a lot of people, just knowing that it's around like a 3, 4 p.m.,
Yes. Yeah.
that around that hour, it just can be like that. And just granting yourself grace and just saying, okay, come on, I've had that first part of the night and it is what it is, whatever it is. I allow myself to journal and release. And then if I fall asleep, it's okay. And if I don't, I'm just in that same team
Yeah.
as others are, and just don't pressure yourself so much. I
Yeah.
think a very important thought.
Yes, yeah. And next week I'm going to be doing a journaling workshop. So if people want to find out more about journaling, they can join that. But I think also I find if you're waking in the middle of the night, I teach this to clients, doing something like a body scan, so like a meditative body scan, or if you've ever done yoga nidra, where you literally will take yourself from lying down and either just imagine the soles of your feet softening, your ankles softening, your calves, your knees, your thighs, all the way up your body and all the way back down. I generally never have a client that will do more than 2 rounds up and down. On that third round, they never remember anymore because they're back to being asleep. It just helps to put you back into that parasympathetic nervous system. And maybe if that one doesn't work, you can do the one where you clench your muscles. So it's a little bit more activating. So you have to do it with sort of mindfulness, but you literally would clench your toes and then allow them to release and then take a full deep breath between each clench. And you would think about clenching your ankles. I know these are my wrists, not my ankles, but clenching your ankles and then clenching your calves and clenching your thighs. And within each one, allowing it to really rest and let go. And if you need 2 or 3 breaths to really let go between each clench, then, do that. But that allows your whole body then to rest and relax. And then you might do just 1 round of that and then just do 1 round of actually just thinking about each area, relaxing as you go up and down your body. And again, generally, you'll never do more than 2 rounds and you're fast asleep again.
I love that because
Yeah.
it takes your whole awareness into that
Yeah.
exercise, right? You can't
Yes.
worry about what you were worrying before, what is going on in your next day or what was in the past. You really have to focus on something that somatically prepares you to let go
Yeah.
and move into those brain spheres that you
Yes.
need to move to fall
Yeah,
into sleep.
yeah, yeah. And when I'm doing things like that, I love to have the mag Healy out. So the mag Healy you can wear on your body. So I was about to put it, when you're looking in the thing, your left and right, funny. I still like to have it on my chest. And you shouldn't put it over your heart, but I do like to have it on my chest or on my abdomen. And within it, there's both programs that you can use for sleep. So there's a tiredness program, there's a sleep program, and there's an earthing program that you can place on your body. And if you've got it on its third setting, it just heats up as well, which I really love. And I think the earth program, which is about sort of putting you into that whole earthing idea, is a beautiful program. So that for me really drops my nervous system. If I'm using it in the daytime because I just want to have like a quick nap, I literally can feel my whole body drop the nervous system. It's almost like a physical like movement that my body does as I go into that sort of relaxation state. It is beautiful. And then within the atmosphere program, so you could have it beside your bed or under a pillow. If you were using it around a partner or with children, you could have it on the atmosphere program. And relaxation, holistic health, and sleep are all beautiful programs to again put you into that sleep state. And then also you can inform water with it. So you could put it over your glass of water early in the afternoon and then drink that water that's infused with frequencies of sleep before 6 p.m. So that actually then that energy of that water is moving through your body to help you fall into sleep as well. And within, there's a group of programs that are called the making programs because she's an incredible osteopath in the States, and she works with dual frequency. And there's a sleep program there, but also a vagus nerve program. And I love the vagus nerve program. I think it's incredible for all sorts of things. And the making programs are my go-to for so many things. So for me, digestion health. If you have eaten late at night and you're really feeling uncomfortable, Making's digestion health is like incredible. It's almost like it helps you to absorb those foods for me instantly, so that actually it takes away any discomfort, any bloating, any gas, and just really settles you into that sort of more relaxed state. And that combined with the vagus nerve, two beautiful programs to run back to back. So yeah, love my
I
mag.
love the mag as well. I love it on my belly, and my kids love it actually too.
So do
So
they?
yeah, we've had a period here where the three of my kids, they took turns and they all got like a little virus, and they love it on the belly. Just
Yeah.
it's nice and warm. And then
It's like a little hot water bottle.
yes, and I would have given it to my daughter in the middle of the night when she was waking up coughing, and then she slept right to the next day noon. I was so amazed.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I feel they are really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really powerful. So I think we've probably covered everything we need to in terms of sleep. A couple of people joined us and then have hopped off. So I'm thinking you're going to watch the replay. If you've got questions after watching this and you want to reach out to Katja or I, you can do it via the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group, or just find us on our social media. Katja, do you want to share what you are on Instagram?
Yes, so you can see it in the
Oh
left
yeah, I
corner.
can.
It's just Katja.lampe. You can find me on Instagram. I don't know my Facebook. I really
I think
usually,
you'll just capture Lampe.
yeah, maybe.
Lampe? Yeah, on because I tagged you in something this morning. And I'm Ali H Wellness on Instagram and Ali Hutchinson on Facebook. So you will find us easily. And if you want to ask questions, please do. And if you're interested in Healy and you'd like to have a personalized frequency scan, then reach out to one of us and we will run that for you and just share with you some of the results that come up, which are so powerful in really helping you to understand, where Healy can support you a little bit more. Anything you want to add before we end, Katja?
No, I thought this was a beautiful talk. I loved hearing also about your wisdom on sleep, and I hope that everyone who sees this will get exactly out of it what she needs. Because sleep is such a treasure, and it can be such a pain if we're battling with it. So I hope that everyone who sees this will feel some relief. And please do reach out to us, to Ellie or to me. It would
Lovely.
be
Thank you
fun.
so much.